It's a weekend this province won't soon forget.
We have nothing but the clothes on our back.
Is my house going to collapse?
From destruction and devastation
to victory.
This will make them Brier champions. Just incredible.
The storm shattered records.
It was the worst I've ever experienced in my life.
But it couldn't shatter a dream.
We've been so close so often, and it was pretty emotional.
Good evening, I'm Carolyn Stokes.
And I'm Peter Cowan, and what a weekend it was. We start tonight with those wicked winds.
Yes, just take... And that was just a taste. Wind gusts in eastern Newfoundland reached 180 kilometers an hour.
Signs, shingles, siding, it was all flying. 70,000 customers lost power on the Avalon and Burin Peninsulas during the storm.
And today, people are assessing the damage and trying to clean up.
That's where Here and Now's Jeremy Eaton comes in. So, Jeremy, what did you see today?
The winds have died down, and yes, Peter, people have started the cleanup. Some will probably get it done quicker than others. Unbelievable damage. And even today, we're still seeing some shocking footage from the weekend over the weather. Sorry, the weather over the weekend.
The traffic lights.
It's not every day traffic lights cause vehicles to stop like this. Oh! Scary scenes like this one caught on a dash cam became a common sight in the city. Luckily, Joe White stopped his cab just short of the stoplight.
I've never seen nothing like that before in my life.
In total, more than 70 intersections were impacted. But it wasn't just streetlights. Houses blown apart. Signs demolished. Power lines left mangled.
I pretty well drove in the worst kind of conditions Mother Nature has to offer. Normally it wouldn't bother me, but that was downright dangerous.
In the city's scenic historic battery, a porta potty sits on the beach. The roof in the house above it buckled over.
I heard a lot of banging, and I thought, oh, that must be the snowplow. I hope the snowplow hasn't banged into my house. And then a neighbor called me and told me not to go outside because I might get hurt since the roof had come down and was banging against the side of the house. You realize it in a crisis. You're so glad.
Winds stronger than Judith Adler has experienced in her 4 decades of living here. The roof is a mess, but she is insured. However, weather is getting in the way of repairs.
The situation is that they have somebody come out, and I totally understand those men have to think about their own safety. And when it's freezing rain like this, they can't get up there for reasons of their safety. So the situation is now they'll come back and do something when it's good weather.
Adler praised those workers for getting there so quickly, but in a city notorious for weather, she's hopeful that a fix to her roof will come sooner rather than later. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you very much. Jeremy Eaton reporting live tonight. Now, still with the effects of the storm, here's a cautionary tale.
3 members of a Trinity Bay family are on the mend after a close call during the weekend's power outages.
The 3 people all inhaled carbon monoxide at their home in Norman's Cove on Sunday. They had been using a generator to stay warm. A family member found them and called for help. RCMP is warning people that generators should not be used unless they are in properly ventilated areas. All 3 people are expected to fully recover. The storm was particularly hard on one piece of St. John City infrastructure.
Yes, winds plucked off about 140 traffic lights all over the city. RNC officers were out this morning helping direct traffic. There were still long lines of cars during rush hour this morning. The city hopes to repair some of the damaged lights because it only has about 40 spares. Right now, about 30 intersections still aren't working.
The ones that did hit the ground and were damaged, our staff are working, repairing those, and if possible, and being able to reuse them. And then we've had to order replacements, which will take a few days to get here.
And as for people without electricity, the latest from Newfoundland Power and Newfoundland and Labrador Hydro is that there are about 3,600 customers without service.
Yeah, 1,600 of them are on the Burin Peninsula. Hydro hopes to have those customers back by 8 o'clock tonight.
Yes, and in St. John's, about 1,000 customers are without electricity. They're scattered in small pockets throughout the city.
Still on the Avalon, but outside the metro area, there are about 1,000 customers that still don't have power, and there's no timeline on when they'll be back online.
And while the wind was blowing, the power out on the Avalon and the Burin Peninsula's central and western Newfoundland were being hit by a blizzard.
Yeah, you're looking at some whiteout conditions in Gander on Saturday afternoon, and it wasn't much better in Bay Verte, where they couldn't see the bay or the hills behind it.
That's right, and while central and western Newfoundland were dealing with anywhere from 15 to 40 centimeters of snowfall and those blizzard conditions this weekend, it was, of course, primarily the wind that we were dealing with here in eastern Newfoundland, and what a wind event it was. Top gusts of 180 kilometers per hour recorded at Argentia, 170 at Greats Cove. In fact, most of eastern Newfoundland clocked winds in the 100 to 130 or 140 range, with again those gusts 160 to 180 along exposed areas of the coast and the higher elevations. Now, even though this storm was not a hurricane, given it had no tropical origins or characteristics, these winds were indeed hurricane force, especially given that we had sustained winds over 100 kilometers per hour across many parts of the Avalon. Now, when you compare the numbers of Hurricane Igor, which was a Category 1 storm, to this storm, you can see many areas experienced stronger winds on Saturday than they did with that storm back in 2010. Again, Igor was more destructive because the trees were heavy with leaves, and of course, that storm brought those flooding rains as well. So for St. John's, if winds were stronger with this storm than they were with Igor, where exactly do those winds rank? Well, indeed, this storm was a top 10 wind event for Metro and the strongest wind since January of 1977, when winds were clocked at 167 kilometers per hour. Interesting to note, with that top 10 list, not one of those was a hurricane event, all winter or fall or spring systems. So with that one down, what's ahead? Yet another storm. Snow, ice, rain, yes, more wind. However, this time it's going to be the west coast that sees the strongest gusts. I'll have more details on that with your forecast in just a few minutes.
And while the winds were causing havoc outside Mile 1 Center, there was a storm of a different kind brewing inside on the ice.
Yep, that unstoppable force of the Gushue Rink and the thousands of fans that willed them to their first but long sought after Brier victory.
And here now is Ryan Cook is standing by live now tonight with more. So Ryan, what was the scene last night?
Well, Carolyn, it was euphoric here. It was absolutely deafening. This place was actually shaking.
After 14 years spent trying to win a Brier, Brad Gushue's chance to win at home came down to a matter of centimeters. Gushue nearly came up short. Mark Nichols leapt into action, helping sweep the Rock into scoring position and into history.
I threw that a little lighter than what I wanted, but when it was coming down, it looked like it was always going to be there, and it only got there by a little bit. So just excitement to make the shot, excitement for the city of St. John's, and to win a Brier. And myself, my whole team, but myself and Mark, we've been so close so often, and it was pretty emotional.
Gushue celebrated on the ice, hugging his wife and daughter before posing for a picture with his family. While the win meant a lot for the team, it also meant a lot to the fans.
My gosh, you know what? They pulled it out in the end, and it was the best feeling in the world.
Yeah,
Great team.
I was on TSN bawling my eyes out.
What do you think this means for curling in this province?
This is really big for curling in the province. This will definitely grow the sport. It's just the greatest day ever. It's awesome.
St. John's has waited 45 years for a Brier, 14 years for a Brad Gushue win, and tonight they're going to party like it.
Fans flocked to the Brier Patch after the game for the biggest party in the city. Team Gushue showed up, saluted the crowd, and shared the win with their fans, literally.
Now we're learning tonight that some members of Team Gushue had an extra piece of luck on their side. The ice crew showed us where they laid an old Newfoundland coin between the ice and the boards.
Newfoundland 50 cent. Right in the back of sheet B.
Yes, that was there in the hopes that it would help the team. That coin now belongs to Brad Gushue. He told CBC's Devin Haru that he gladly accepted it, put it in his pocket, and added that he will be hanging on to it.
Well, the city won't have to rely on luck to bring the Brier back again if fan reaction is any sign of support. The event has earned rave reviews for the atmosphere, the fans, and of course the party.
And we go back now to here now's Ryan Cook, who's live outside Mile 1. So Ryan, what's the likelihood that St. John's will be hosting the Brier again?
Well, it seems the odds are actually pretty good. I spoke with people who had been to several Briers before to ask them how this event stacks up against the others.
This is the best Brier I have ever been to. Moncton, New Brunswick was great, and Saskatoon was great, Edmonton, but I tell you what, with the crowd here, this was the best Brier ever.
Listen to the crowd. There's nothing like this. We had a hurricane come in yesterday, but the Newfies are blowing the roof off tonight, and it is incredible.
The city hadn't hosted a Brier since 1972, back when Frank Moores had just taken over as premier from Joey Smallwood. Ticket sales last week exceeded 120,000, on par with last year's event in Ottawa. Curling Canada says the city has caught its attention for other major curling events.
Is St. John's a contender? Absolutely. So is Regina, so is Sault Ste. Marie, so is Kamloops, so is Calgary, Edmonton. There's a lot of cities that want the St. Martin's Brier and other Season of Champions events, such as the Ford Worlds and the Scotties Tournament of Hearts. But based on what we saw this week, we're intrigued.
Yeah, and so is St. John's. Councillor Sandy Hickman said that the city has their eye on other Curling Canada events in the near future, with the goal of bringing the Brier back here within 8 years.
Thanks, Ryan. That's here now's Ryan Cook reporting live tonight.
Yeah, and we have plenty more Brier coverage tonight, including reaction from Brad Gushue. That's coming up in 20 minutes.
A national hero and hometown hero, RCMP Corporal Curtis Barrett, the man known as the unsung hero of the Parliament Hill shooting, heads home to Labrador City for some long-awaited recognition.
Looks like Come From Away will be going quite far. Its debut on Broadway last night has struck a chord with audiences and entertainment critics. Welcome back to Here and Now. The PCs are now leading the pack when it comes to politics in this province. That's according to the latest opinion poll from Corporate Research Associates. 39% of people surveyed say they back the Progressive Conservatives. That's up from 34% in November. The Liberals have also experienced a sharp drop. The poll shows 33% of people support the party. That's down 9 points since November. The NDP also picked up support, rising 3 points to 26%. PC leader Paul Davis continues to be in front as the preferred choice for premier, riding 14 points higher than Dwight Ball. The poll results are considered accurate within 4.9 percentage points, 95 times out of 100. While today at Supreme Court in St. John's, 48-year-old Eugene Foley was found not guilty of attempting to murder his brother Glenn in St. Bride's in 2015. But Foley was found guilty of aggravated assault on his brother. Glenn Foley was repeatedly stabbed with a filleting knife. The judge says he doesn't know what was at the root cause of the hatred between the two brothers. Eugene Foley will be sentenced in April.
To New York City now, and the official Broadway debut of Come From Away, the musical story that put Gander in the spotlight on one of America's darkest days, 9/11. Here and Now's Angela Antle is in New York and has this report from the red carpet.
It's been 2 years of writing, tweaking, rehearsing, and previews to get to this red carpet on Broadway. Come From Away, an unapologetically Canadian musical about human kindness, is making its Broadway debut in a country where some people are rejecting those very values. There were lots of famous faces on the red carpet here tonight, including Victor Garber and others, but of course the real stars were the people of Gander who inspired this story.
This is more timely than most musicals. We are so in need of being reminded of that we are all here on this planet together and that we deserve to respect and love and all of that.
Come From Away is one of only 5 Canadian musicals to make it this far. And for the writing team behind this story, David Hein and Irene Sankoff, it's a dream come true. Audience members from opening night say the message of Come From Away is a timely one.
Come From Away is spectacular. If only Donald Trump could see this play, maybe he would change his tune about the borders.
Wow, it was unbelievable. Yeah, I have to say this performance.
Fantastic. What a way to get together.
Better the second time. All the best, really.
Really great. Really
Canadians,
great.
Americans working together. It's heartwarming. It's just brilliant.
While the cast was celebrating their debut, the reviews came in, and they weren't all positive. Vulture.com says the show borrows our local tragedy as background for 100 minutes of Canadian civic boosterism. The New York Times was kinder. It calls Come From Away a bear hug of a musical. And the Washington Post says it's a story that reminds us all of who we are meant to be. For CBC News, I'm Angela Antle in New York.
Well, in about 30 minutes, I'll speak with Patrina Bromley, the Newfoundland actor who has a starring role in Come From Away. Well, our CMP Corporal Curtis Barrett is being celebrated in his hometown of Labrador City. Until recently, we knew little about Barrett's role in helping end the Parliament Hill shooting in 2014. He's since received the Star of Courage, and on Friday night at the opening ceremony of the region's Winter Carnival, Barrett was given the province's highest award for bravery. A street has also been named after him. He was in Labrador to share his experience with PTSD with first responders, high school students and cadets in the area.
I have no problem speaking to first responders and speaking to the government, but when you're dealing with your hometown, it means a lot more than I guess the big city. To be treated somewhat special in your hometown is incredible, and yeah, it's an honor.
The fact that the 12-year-old boy I knew has now become the man that is now a national hero, it's a little you choke up on it a little bit. And he has a tremendous amount of character to do the things that he's done, you know, in very distasteful circumstances, but he's done so with great skill and kept doing his duty. It says a lot.
And we're now naming that little street Curtis Barrett Way.
For the rest of the week, I'm speaking to first responders, and And I know that the police and fire and ambulance here in town see a lot of terrible things and have to deal with people they live next to. So the idea is that hopefully I can reach out to them and show them that you can have an issue and still be a great police officer or a great paramedic or a firefighter and get help you need and still work at the job you love. So.
Well, the province announced a new 3-year, $100 million municipal infrastructure program today, and it's clear where the vast majority of that money is going to be spent: on clean drinking water and wastewater treatment. Government says it will pay up to 90% of the cost for those priority projects, but if you're looking for a new municipal depot or some community roads, towns will now have to pay a bigger share, up to 50%. This is the first change to the cost-sharing formula in nearly a decade.
The majority of money that was spent last year was for water and wastewater. So what we're saying, here's our priority, and we're going to use as much of that funds we can for the priorities that we heard with the Premier's Forum and at the MNL convention. Is water and wastewater is a priority for the majority of towns that we heard from. We made that a priority through our consultations.
The province is also offering financial incentives for neighboring towns and cities to submit joint applications in order to encourage regional cooperation. The organization that represents municipalities in this province welcomed the move.
We know that the demographics in Newfoundland and Labrador are changing dramatically, and that we're really concerned as municipalities, Newfoundland and Labrador, what that will mean for delivery of municipal services and for democracy. And so by working now to encourage people to work together collaboratively and have better benefit from that financially is really going to help us as we move to the next steps of regional government.
The province has also earmarked $35 million over the next 2 years to make sure it can maximize the amount of federal money available for municipal infrastructure.
Well, it's been nearly a decade since the Abitibi paper mill shut down in Grand Falls, Windsor. Now it's a flat piece of land, and there's no clear plan for what happens next. Here Now's Chris Ensing reports.
I'm standing across from the old Abitibi mill site in Grand Falls, Windsor. Behind me, there used to be a paper mill that stood for nearly a century, providing jobs for people in central Newfoundland. Now that mill is gone, the land remains and it belongs to the province. That's raised a couple questions about what happens next. I'm going to show you what is happening now with this snowman here. It sounds weird, but I think it's the best way to explain it. In 2009, the Abitibi paper mill is shut down. All of these people, their families, are kind of lost now because the industry is gone from Grand Falls, Windsor. The town is trying to find a new way to revitalize, and they go towards healthcare. As that's happening, we look at the actual mill itself. That's that second snowball here. Now, the province has taken responsibility for the mill. They had to make sure it got demolished and taken care of. They hired a Quebec company, and that finished in December. So now you have the base, the foundation, the land. This is what the town wants access to now. The problem is, in 2010, the province released a study that showed inside this foundation here could be toxins, could be poisons, heavy metals. It's hard to know what the environmental impact of all those years of the Abitibi paper mill had on the land. So what can you do with this? Well, the town of Grand Falls, Windsor hired a consulting company that suggested it could be turned into a condo development, it could be recreational, it could be tourism. They could do something like a Fogo Island Inn on Grand Falls, Windsor's site beside the exploits here. There's a lot of options. The problem is the province still hasn't tested to see what's actually inside of this foundation.
You know, there are some testing, but when we get really to what's right underneath the ground, that would certainly would be another, I would suspect, phase of the environmental assessment of that would have to be done.
Now, there is expected to be movement on this file by the end of spring or the beginning of summer, according to Minister of Transportation and Works Al Hawkins. But for now, it's just a flat piece of land representing what once was in this town and what could be. Chris Ensing, CBC News, Grand Falls, Windsor.
Let's bring in Ryan with more talk about the weather. And Ryan, this time of the year, we all expect Sheila's brush,
Yeah.
but it feels a bit like Sheila's leaf blower came by.
Yeah, definitely.
So was that it? Like we're all weathered out. Like,
yeah, no. This is
course
of
not.
course March, and of course Sheila's brush doesn't come until after St. Patrick's Day. Peter.
Oh, good. Something to look forward to.
Absolutely, more fun to come. Now, again, we have always lots of active weather in this neck of the woods, and you know what? This week we'll be bringing even more as we take a look off to the south and east. And in fact, much of the coverage you see south of the border right now focusing on this storm, which is going to be a big one and a nor'easter for them with winds from the northeast. For Washington, New York, Philly, Boston, all going to be into that potentially 30 plus centimeter potential there through that northeast parts of the U.S. corridor. For our neck of the woods, it will be bringing in snow, ice pellets, freezing rain, and yes, more wind, although the winds will be nowhere near as impactful as they were with this past system, though the West Coast, in those exposed areas of the West Coast, including Wreck House, which is already under a wind warning, and also Bond Bay, Norris Point, those areas exposed to those easterlies downsloping from the long-range mountains, you folks will be into a wind event for sure as we move Tuesday night, late Tuesday night, but more so through the day on Wednesday. And those special weather statements extend all the way up into southeastern Labrador, where we will be seeing some snow and wind from this one as well. Let's walk you through your timeline. Again, pretty quiet as we move through tonight and into tomorrow. As in fact, my timeline needs to catch up here. Here we are through this evening, and you can see still some flurry chances across the Avalon, into the interior parts of the island as well. Through Tuesday, sunshine on the menu for most of us. Some scattered flurry chances, particularly for the southeast, and also looks like we'll start to see some afternoon flurries popping up places like Happy Valley, Goose Bay, down into the southeast. But again, winds fairly light tomorrow. Overnight lows are going to be in that -6 to -12 range for most of the island. Coldest for inland and low-lying areas, -18 to 24 for you folks in Labrador. And again, winds not going to be an issue. Now, for tomorrow, we are going to be seeing temperatures in the 0 to -2 range for most of the island, -3 for Corner Brook, -8 for Happy Valley, Goose Bay, -12 for Labrador City. And just ignore those arrows, which are pointing down. Those temperatures will not be falling. That's a leftover from last week. My apologies on that. But anyway, as we move forward, Tuesday and into the Wednesday time period, watch through Tuesday night and into Wednesday. This is where the snow will start to roll in Tuesday night, around midnight for the southwest coast. Everybody into the snow action by Wednesday morning, and it will look to be a pretty messy commute from St. John's through Central towards the west coast, but it won't take long before we transition over to some ice pellets and some rain, and that'll be the bulk of what we see into the afternoon hours for the southeast in particular. Some strong winds for the west coast. Looks like the northern peninsula into southeastern Labrador will likely remain mostly snow with this one, perhaps a little bit of mixing up towards the northern peninsula, but again, some breezy winds here, no question about that. We'll talk more about this one in terms of totals and amounts coming up in your long range in just a few minutes.
Now those are the hugs and cheers that had everyone spellbound. Newfoundland and Labrador claims gold as Team Gushue wins its first Brier and the first for the province in decades. Hear more from the man himself coming up.
Welcome back to Here and Now. Well, the province watched as Brad Gushue and his teammates lived out a dream last night. Reporters spoke with Gushue while he was still basking in the afterglow of the epic Brier victory. Here's more of what he had to say.
Is what you need to become the Canadian curling champions.
A lot of emotions. It's been a fun last half hour for sure. It's been a fun week. Very special, very emotional.
What was it like to do it here on home ice?
It's pretty amazing to have done it at home and with the crowd behind us and everything that went on this year with our team with injuries, and it's pretty cool. I wrote on a Bristol board my 10 goals in curling, and the only one I hadn't achieved was the Brier, and I did it today, and it's pretty special. It's I've been close so many times, and we as a team have been close, and to finally win it, and win it at home, you couldn't ask for a better story. It's awesome.
When sun rays round that pine clad hills. How does the Bristol compare to the gold medal?
It's right there with it. It's very hard to compare the Olympics because it's so big and the Brier, but to win the Brier here at home, it's right there. It's to be honest, after 11 years, this probably means more to me with the I guess ups and downs we had over the last 11 years. It certainly means a lot more to me now. When I was 25, I thought I was going to win a bunch of these, but I realized there's a lot of good curlers in the world and in Canada, and to finally win one it's pretty amazing.
Brad, what did you tell yourself before that final shot when you're settling into the hat?
Well, there was so much uncertainty of the weight. I hadn't thrown a draw since the fifth end, and the weight had changed dramatically, and the guys were telling me to throw 6 feet more, and I had a hard time believing that it was that slow, and I only gave them 2 feet more, and they had to work their butts off to get it there. And I was hoping to have the out-turn path coming back because that was a little quicker. We hadn't played that in-turn path in probably 6 ends, and fortunately, we got it there.
How worried were you that it wasn't going to make those last couple inches?
To be honest, at the hog line, I thought it was top 4. So I was just wanted to keep the guys down because I thought it would slide further. And then as it got to the house, I'm like, holy cow, we're not going to get this by much. But I knew we had it, and it was just, I was somewhat celebrating from the hog line in because I felt it was going to be a little closer to the button. But anyway, it turned out, doesn't matter. 10 years from now, you're never going to know what shot you had to win, and it's just a matter that you won.
Team Canada, how does that sound?
That's awesome. We're going to be back in the Brier next year. We're going to be representing Canada at the World Championships in a few weeks. That's pretty amazing. That's going to be a special time for us in Edmonton. I think it's the last event going to be in the Rexall Place, which is going to be awesome. And I can't wait. But we're going to enjoy this first. I can tell you that.
People of all ages were in this arena tonight, young people too.
Yeah.
You talked about the legacy of this Brier, that it had already been etched into this community despite whether or not you won tonight. But maybe talk about the legacy and the lasting effects when you look at the legacy.
No, I think there's going to be a lot of young boys and young girls that leave here dreaming about winning a Brier or a Scotties, and that's awesome because it was a much younger crowd than a typical Brier, to be honest, when we looked around, and a lot of curlers said that. There's a lot of young kids here, and they're certainly going to see the emotion and the excitement that we had out on the ice, and they're going to dream about that, and most kids dream about Stanley Cups and stuff, but there's going to be a number that leave here wanting to win the Brier, and I think it's great because it's pretty special to win one.
Well, up next, hear more stories of devastation from Saturday's Wicked Winds. Welcome back to Here and Now. The windstorm on Saturday was particularly hard on houses. Lots of people are dealing with damage to siding and windows. But here are two women who lost their roofs, one in Torbay, the other in the Outer Battery in St. John's.
Saturday at around 1:30, apparently Torbay was frantic looking for myself and my husband. And when we finally got a call, we told that the roof of the house had blown off, and we were to come home immediately. We came home and found that we are no longer a home, into a home, and all of our belongings, everything is in the house, and we can no longer go outside. And the roof of the house is gone.
So what was your reaction when you came and you saw the damage?
I was numb, worried that I was going to lose all my personal belongings, fearful of where I was going to sleep that night. Just completely numb.
So when did you move into this house?
A week ago. We moved in, and we recently just found a house like with a garage and my husband, and we were completely happy and just started to settle in. We were about 80% unpacked, and yeah.
And so, was anyone home at the time?
Nobody was home. We were out. My daughter was at work, and so we were really lucky that there was nobody home. And but the damage did occur upstairs, so as long as there was no one upstairs at the home, we probably would have been okay. But just knowing that that we can't get into the home at all is kind of frightening.
I heard a lot of banging, and I thought, oh, that must be the snowplow. I hope the snowplow hasn't banged into my house. And then a neighbor called me and told me not to go outside because I might get hurt since the roof had come down and was banging against the side of the house. So I was, yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, and then I would, I'd hear the gusts of winds going against the house and hoping it would be okay, and thinking of the guy who built it and thinking about him, if he could see it now, what his work was going through. That's what I was thinking. He was a fisherman who built this house. Yeah.
And how long have you lived in this house?
Since 1973.
And
that was before the road was paved and before we had water and sewage out.
Sorry. If somebody couldn't see it and you had to describe it, what does your roof look
I'd
like?
say it would be like having an envelope in front of you where the stickum has come off the envelope, and the whole envelope is open and flapping around. And I saw bits of it blowing around. Yeah.
Were you frightened at all Saturday night or Saturday?
Not that frightened. I felt the walls are going to hold. It passes through your mind, is my house going to collapse? But I didn't feel like it was, but it's certainly exposed, yeah.
Have you had a chance to get a hold of someone to try to take a look at it?
Yes, I have Johnson Insurance, and I do appreciate that I haven't been stuck on voicemail. I really appreciate that. When I call them, I talk to them. But the situation is that they have somebody come out, and I totally understand those men have to think about their own safety, and when it's freezing rain like this, they can't get up there for reasons of their safety. So the situation is now they'll come back and do something when it's good weather, but we're expecting rain, and I'm wondering how much damage I'm going to have inside. I am have been assured by Johnson's Insurance that I'm covered, but that's all I can say.
The weather update is brought to you by Beltone Hearing Service St. John's, helping the world hear better.
So much damage, my goodness. So how much time does she have before the weather moves in again? And
tomorrow looks quiet, which is good. We'll get to be able to get some work done. Wednesday, unfortunately, we've got the snow coming in. That is going to change to rain here in the east. 5 to 10, maybe even a little bit more in terms of millimeters of rain on the way. Let's break it down. I'll show you first the satellite and radar picture of the Newfoundland and Labrador to start, but there is the system that is brewing up in and along the northeast coast of the U.S. Colder air coming in from the Great Lakes will meet all of that moisture that's funneling up from Florida and the southeast, and that will combine into a big storm for that northeast part of the U.S., and then special weather statements are in effect for our neck of the woods. Wreck House is already under a wind warning, and again, the southeast parts of Labrador also under that special weather statement. First crack at this, again, I'll I'll hone in and have a little more detail with this map tomorrow night when I adjust it. But right now, looks like about 5 to 10 centimeters, changing to 5 to 10 millimeters in the south and east. A little less rain. Again, 5 to 10 centimeters of snow. Could see a little bit more, especially along that southwest coast for that initial band that it comes in on Tuesday night into Wednesday. I think 5 to 10 centimeters for the west coast, and then another wrap around 5 to 10 through Thursday. So kind of a double shot for you folks along the west coast, including Corner Brook. Best chance of 15 to 20, 25, even though as much as 30, not into the question again. Northern Peninsula and southeastern Labrador, amounts will drop off as you work your way towards the west. But again, I'll break this down in a little more detail. I'll update this map for you tomorrow night. Now, in terms of timeline, again, chance of flurries through this evening, and then it's pretty quiet for most of us as we roll through the day on Tuesday. Scattered flurry chances from Corner Brook to St. John's tomorrow, and as well as southeastern parts of Labrador. Overall, temperatures in that 0 to -3 range for the island. -5 to 12 to as cold as -14 in the north across Labrador. Now, Tuesday night into Wednesday, here comes our system. And again, could see some of those heavier bands, as I mentioned, for the southwest coast, but generally speaking, 5 to 10 with this first wave. And then it's the mix to ice pellets and then over to rain in the southeast where we'll see the heaviest rainfall. Winds here looking set to gust in that 60 to 80 range. Could see some gusts upwards of 90 based on some of the forecast models here. So not nearly as strong as what we were seeing. The west coast, though, the Wreck House and exposed areas of the west coast could definitely see gusts here over 100 kilometers per hour. Tuesday night into Wednesday, we'll break that down in more detail tomorrow. There's the snow that will continue for the Northern Peninsula and southeastern Labrador as the wind ramps up as well. Note the temperatures rising, +4 to 6 on the island by late day Wednesday. And then that warm air will actually continue Wednesday night in through Thursday. The west coast will fall back to the freezing mark on Thursday with a chance of seeing some of those flurries, onshore flurries. Eventually falling, but not until the later day on Thursday in Central. Another day of the warm stuff here in the east, 6 or 7 degrees with scattered shower chances and -10 across Labrador. So as we look at your 7-day trend, note the temperatures are back to the freezing mark Friday into Saturday and Sunday, which looks quiet, with our next system looking set late Sunday and into Monday. And again, right now, at least in the early stages, that looking like another snow to rain player. For Labrador, again, snow Wednesday, Thursday, and a clear out towards the weekend.
Time now to meet our young athlete of the day. And this is 4-year-old Windsor Brockway. Windsor is from Coley's Point and practices martial arts.
And you can just see by that smile how proud he is to get the rank of Yellow Stripe at Precision Taekwondo Academy in Spaniards Bay.
Way to go, Windsor. You're today's young athlete of the day.
Well, there were some tears and some happy reunions as Come From Away officially opened on Broadway last night. The Newfoundland actor at the center of it all will be next on Here and Now.
welcome back to Here and Now. Well, as you saw earlier in the show, Come From Away made its Broadway debut last evening in New York City. The musical tells the story of Gander during 9/11, a story of kindness and hospitality to outsiders, one that's resonating with audiences and critics. Patrina Bromley is the only actor from Newfoundland and Labrador performing in the show, and I spoke with her from New York City. So Patrina, first of all, congratulations on your Broadway debut. Tell me how it felt to step onto the stage last night.
It was absolutely incredible. I mean, indescribable is the only way I can ever find to describe it. The energy in the house was so amazing. Everybody was there to support us because opening nights here are generally invited houses of friends and family and investors and supporters. So it was just it was a giant love-in last night to step out there. And knowing that it was the official Broadway opening of this show and my own personal Broadway debut, plus several other members of our cast, it was a dream, an absolute dream.
And you talk about the energy in the room. Can you tell me a bit about the reaction of the audience to the show?
The reaction was wonderful. I think the best example of it all was that at the very end of the show, in the final song, when we get to about the halfway point of that song and we start the chorus and the text is, "You are here at the start of a moment," the whole audience started clapping along and the balcony stood up. So the full balcony was standing up for the last like 3 or 4 minutes of the show, plus the playoff and everything that happened afterwards.
Must have been amazing. Now, Patrina, there's a lot of talk about timing with this show, that with the current political climate in the U.S. and with the travel ban, that Come From Away is more relevant now probably than it would have been even a couple of years ago. Do you feel like this show is really striking a chord?
Absolutely. People are telling us that. The people who are coming to see the show, a lot of those people are saying this is a story that we need to hear right now to remind us that we're all a part of the human race is all one big family in the end, and all we have in the end is each other to take care of. And this is something that the current climate in many places, not just here in the States, but in many places, is kind of being forgotten, and people are getting insular and very xenophobic. And this is a story of Americans as refugees, which is a story you don't hear very often at all. And I think people are recognizing that when you're away from home or when you're stranded somewhere, you're the stranger. So if someone comes to your door, try and have compassion for them going through what they're going through.
What do you hope audiences will take away from this show? What's the message? What's the feeling that you'd like audiences to walk away from the show with?
My desire for the show is to teach people hope, or to give people hope. We get a lot of people who, because this is New York, who are connected to the events of 9/11, widows and survivor families, who tell us that they find the show very healing. And the fact that that is what people are taking away from it is something that I could never be too grateful for. And on a personal level, I hope it makes everybody take a trip to Newfoundland. I think it's the best tourism ad that they ever could have come up with.
And it seems like, you know, there have really been glowing reviews of this show. The New York Times, the Washington Post, they all had great reviews of the show in their publications today. As an actor, how much weight do you give those reviews?
It varies, you know. I mean, I think here in New York, they are more important because it's such a competitive atmosphere, and good reviews can make or break you. So we're all very relieved that there are good reviews. Particularly the New York Times is one that everyone always points to as being sort of the one you want to get the good review from, and we did, thank heavens. But in terms of, for myself, reading them, I don't read them for my own to see what they say about me kind of thing, you know what I mean? But you're curious to know what the word is and how people are accepting and perceiving the show. So I read them. I haven't read them yet, but I do read them myself, mostly out of curiosity.
Of course, of course. And you have a big visitor coming on Wednesday night. The Prime Minister of Canada is going to New York to see the show. What do you think about that?
It's fantastic. He'd be crazy not to. It speaks so well of Canadians, and especially of Newfoundlanders and Labradorians, but of the Canadian sort of philosophy in general, of generosity and openness. I mean, our country, it's that difference between the melting pot and the mosaic, and I think this story really shows that difference, that we really do embrace other people and are fine with them coming in and still retaining something of who they are and not having to become something that they aren't. And knowing that difference is what makes people interesting and what makes the world interesting. So I think he'll love it.
Well, Padrina Bromley, thank you so much again, and congratulations, and good luck with the rest of the run.
Thank you.
Well, Labrador West is in the midst of its winter carnival. On Saturday, as part of the festivities, some former NHLers were in the region for an alumni game. Now, younger players got to flood the ice during a break in play, and about 30 of them took on the old pros in some shinny.
Number 33 was heaving everybody's jerseys into the boards, and I was going to be the next one, but I never, and I just thought they would do better, but they never, and we went 2-0.
It's like bees chasing honey with the puck. They're always going for it. And usually, we enjoy it and we have some fun with the kids, whether it's, pretending to take a slap shot on a goalie and missing the net, or maybe hooking them, pretending to dive.
They were kind of pushing me around the ice, and I was trying to get out of the pushes, but they just speeded after me and tried to push me more. I'm only 9, so it was a great experience. I was hoping that there'll be Calgary player, because Calgary's my favorite team, but there was no Calgary.
But there were people here from Toronto, weren't there?
Yeah, and I was trying to check them in the boards, because I do not like chocolate. I loved it. I took a rebound, but hit off the pads. And the only point of it is to have fun.
Good stuff. Looks like a great time there. Quick recap on your forecast. Chance of flurries tomorrow for southeastern Labrador and then across the island from Corner Brook to St. John's, but more sun and cloud than anything else, which is great news. Nice little clear out day for us. And then, of course, we'll turn our attention to our next system for Tuesday night and into Wednesday.
Brace for it again.
Always something to look forward to, Ryan. Thanks
Always.
for that.
Yeah, the never-ending NL weather.
And thanks for watching. Have a good night.
Good night.